Hello, everyone. I am Melissa Forziat. I'm a keynote speaker and the host of this Halt and Catch Fire rewatch podcast. Now, when I speak, my topic is something called Take the Doughnut, which for me is an expression that means seize the day, seize the opportunity. And the thing I wanted to seize this year was to talk about Halt and Catch Fire with all of you, to rewatch it, to get a chance to talk with everybody who's a fan of it. And I'm up leveling that because now I'm getting a chance to talk with people who actually worked on this show. And before I introduce my guest for today, I just wanted to give a quick housekeeping item. When I do my episode recaps, those are spoiler free up to the episode that you're on, but these interviews could be spoiler filled. I'm not going to stop anybody from saying anything about the future of the show. So just be aware, anything could be covered from any season here. And today I'm talking with Sam Lazarus, who was from the Mutiny House. He was Tugboat in season 2. Welcome, Sam.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. Well, I am really excited to talk with you about your experience on this show. In my own rewatch, I'm in season 2 now. So I'm getting a lot of Sam scenes, a lot of Tugboat scenes, feeling good about it. So the first thing I wanted to ask is just sort of the process here for starting your work with Halt and Catch Fire. So you had mentioned to me that your first experience on the show was actually doing song background in episode 109. I don't know what that entails, so tell me more about that.
I was just an extra in episode 9. I was originally cast for 3 days. It became a week. I'm all over the Comdex convention, and then I'm
Very cool.
placed really. I'm kind of the continuity is pretty bad in the hotel room. Like I can see myself like in areas that I'm in like 5 different areas. But I mean, I was doing that. I was in Atlanta. I just graduated college, and I was working as a PA and doing some background work in between to network and stuff like that.
Okay, that's really cool. So you got connected through that episode, and then you were probably it was probably an easier road then to getting into the role of Tugboat for season 2. I'm guessing from there.
Um, well, like okay, so things were like back then. That was like the Wild West of Georgia film. Like that was before Marvel and all that stuff. So like everyone kind of knew each other. So I knew the person like who was doing like Halt and Catch Fire, and they also did Walking Dead, both AMC shows. So they were like, they would text me, "Hey, do you want to be on Halt and Catch Fire this season? I'm gonna send your pick in. Okay, want to be on it?" I'm like, "Sure." Like, okay, this is gonna be like, a couple months long. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm unemployed. I can do it."
Okay, yeah. So you had connections then from, it sounds both local connections and at that point some connections from being on the show itself.
Actually, there's a whole different crew on season 2.
Ooh, okay.
So I think they just knew I was like, because it is a job. They knew I wasn't gonna like flake out or just be untrustworthy or weird around people, because that's another thing. I know Mary mentioned in her interview that there's no background checks. So you can get, they just knew I wouldn't be, trouble or anything. I'd be easy to work with and stuff. So that's kind of how it happens. And so it's like, hey, we're gonna send your picture over, and yeah, it's literally how it happened.
That's amazing. So you had mentioned to me that this was your first acting gig. So what do you remember about the process of shooting a show like this, especially being on set for the first time? And maybe like, how does that compare to other jobs you've done since?
Well, I think because it was originally not really an acting gig, but kind of evolved in over time. I think I had no stress on me. Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm gonna get fired, or if I forget this, I'm gonna, I just was like, I'm gonna have a good time and just, get paid and we'll see what happens. Like, I think I just had no stress, which made it easier.
Is
'Cause
that something that's evolved for you since then because you've now got some work behind you, and is there more expectation for you?
I put a lot of pressure on myself. Like I was on a show in New York, and they gave me like 5 days to move to New York. And that was pretty stressful. Like, okay, if you move to New York, we don't know how long you're going to be here for. I'm like, okay, never lived in New York before. So that was kind of stressful. And it was like a bad robot show. And I was pretty nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like this was an opportunity for you to just sort of test the waters and see what it was all about.
Yeah, I had no idea what this would lead to. Like, I just had no idea. I was so like, okay. I don't know. I had no idea it would lead to this, like, it would just like snowball to my career.
Oh, that's exciting. Let's talk about some of the scenes here as we start to think about what the work that you did. So the first time we're going to, well, really probably the second time that we've seen you, because we probably saw you in 109 as well, but in episode 1 of season 2,
Mhm.
which was SETI, we kind of start off almost right away getting an introduction to the Mutiny House, which is now a thriving workspace after a time jump. And we're going to get this long oneer. Donna walks into the house. You're almost the first person we see in, well, you're pretty much one of the first 3 people we see in the
Yeah.
house. You're sitting right by the front door. And this seems like a really highly choreographed, it was almost a 4-minute sequence of Donna walking through the house, encountering different people. So, what was it like to shoot a scene like that, which is probably, I'm guessing took a lot of rehearsal.
Juan Jose Campanellis, I pronounce his name.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone should hire him because he gets stuff done fast. He knows what he wants. He doesn't want to do a million angles. He just knows what he wants done. So we rehearsed that a lot. I feel like we rehearsed it more than it was actually shot. Because if you think about it, it's not really many setups or anything. It's just one long shot. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to change the setup or the lighting. Yeah, it was very fast. We got done. It was still light out, and it was in January. So, and I think it was not the first day of shooting, because I know the people who worked on the first day of shooting. My friend was an extra on the first day of shooting. This was maybe the last day of episode 1 or the third day. That's what I remember.
Yeah, that's incredible that it was like over and done with that quickly, given it looks like a really complex scene to shoot, but it sounds like it was pretty efficient.
Yeah, I mean, I think they shot it within like, I think my call time was like 7 and we were over around 4, which that's like pretty fast for that type of shot.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So if we step forward a little bit in time here, if we go to episode 4 of season 2, so
Mhm.
this is the point where Mutiny is trying to get through. Gordon had infected all of Mutiny with a virus by accident, and it's been unleashed onto the network. And it's caused a big problem with this company. And, a lot of the users have gone away. And so they're trying to figure out how to keep this business afloat. And Tugboat is actually one of the guys who decides to stay on board. It's on the promise of shares of the company, not even getting paid until they get back on their feet. So he must have really loved working in this place. Like, what do you think appealed to Tugboat about
I think
working at
it's a lot of
Mutiny?
job. I mean, I honestly, they just told us like, okay, you're gonna raise your hand, you won't raise your hand. Like, it was just really, yeah, that's literally all that went behind it. It's just like, okay, you're gonna raise your hand, you won't. Fun fact, the original name of my character was Jonas, and then became Tugboat. I don't know why Tugboat stuck, but that's all I know. I know the writer gave me a different name than what became my name, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool to see like who at the team had like the loyalty to the company, and who was thinking more practically about whether or not they wanted to stay, whether the company would be worth anything. It seemed like a really big risk to take, but I guess that's what the show is all about. What do you take the risks on in life?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
So there was an episode in that same actually that same episode. It was the scene where the photo is taken of the whole mutiny team. And that looks like a fairly chaotic scene, but I'm guessing it was a lot more structured than that. It's supposed to be that the group is really hard to wrangle to get that group all together for that photo. So do you remember anything in particular about shooting this scene?
We shot that scene literally right after the laser tag scene.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool. All right.
yeah.
So was that like I'm guessing the laser tag scene was probably a lot more took a lot more energy.
Yeah, I was actually really tired.
Yeah.
I had fake fallen several times, and yeah, it was. I mean, that scene was pretty short to shoot. It didn't take very long.
The photo scene.
I do think they photoshopped some of the people in it because we're not all that, it looks like we're closer than you've seen the photo, right? It looks slightly photoshopped. I don't know if it is or not.
Oh, that's interesting. From what we saw on screen to the actual still photo that they show us
Yeah, I think
later.
they photoshopped some because my head looks weird. I don't know. It looks like I look like I'm going the other way.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm smiling like this. Like I don't know. I don't know if it was photoshopped or not. I don't know.
That's a good point because I don't know how they would have. It does sounds like you didn't pose for an additional still photo, so they just tried to grab whatever they got from the footage.
I don't know. I do know there's a lot of photoshopping on that for the photos, but that's kind of the norm
Yeah,
in
yeah,
general.
yeah. That makes sense. All right. So, but that happened. So you shot that right after the laser. So that was all in one day.
Yeah, it's all one day.
Okay. So the that it was a battle scene where it's sort of meant to be shot like a video game.
Yeah.
What was that like? It looks like there are a lot of really specific camera angles that we don't often see in that one. So it feels like we move into different territory for that
So
battle.
the director was Kimberly Pierce, and she loves her camera angles. I've noticed that. She loves shooting. I mean, I get it. I do think AMC does give directors a little more freedom because usually when if you're directing a TV show, there's only this vision that you can shoot. Like you can only there's not much freedom that in like big tentpole films. You're mostly the directors on those shows are supervisors for what the producers want. I do think the show gave people more freedom. So I remember for Mackenzie's wearing when she's shooting, going through the thing, she's wearing a helmet with a GoPro on it.
Mm.
And I remember Kimberly Pierce was like guiding her so weird. She's like guiding her shoulders, like, okay, you go this way, you go that way. I thought it was kind of
So
funny.
that GoPro was functional then, right?
Yeah, she had one. You can tell it's GoPro photo. You can tell that, right? It's kind of a
You can
GoPro.
tell, but I also thought that like actors aren't supposed to be operating cameras. So I'm wondering how they got, because it does look like it's coming from her head. It doesn't look like it's shot from somebody like holding a camera on the side of her. But I always thought that was interesting that it's like, was she also the camera operator there? It sounds like she was.
I don't know. That's the thing. That's weird. When you do stuff like that, it's hard. Like their lines get blurred. Like, I mean, I'm doing a stunt falling back down, like you see me with the sombrero shooting.
It's true.
So I don't know if like that's where their gray area, there's like a gray area with that. But maybe she was the camera because Kimberly Pierce is guiding her.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. It's a really interesting shot, and it requires like it would have changed how you had to act because instead of like looking into like or dealing with the camera, you're dealing with a person. It's like I don't know. Does that change your process at all?
I mean, I had no idea what I was doing honestly during that moment. To be honest, like I'm wearing knee pads and stuff. I think I think it taught me a lot later on, like when actually like, when I was, doing stuff, like it taught me about marks and stuff because a lot of actors who are their first time do not know what a mark is, which shocks me, or they don't know how to like work with a camera, like or communicate with the DP. Like those are skills I think I did learn because a lot of people when they start out don't know that, and that really does surprise me.
Yeah. Or even if you know it, I mean, I don't know if I think I would know what a mark is, but not how to land on it. It's like there's a whole skill set you have to build around it.
Yeah, but once you learn, it's not too difficult. It's really not. It depends though on the people and it depends on the director.
Yeah, very true. Well, okay, so let's talk a little bit about there's a scene that I watched later that made me think more about what was happening behind the scenes. So in episode 205, all the guys from the Mutiny House are watching the Terminator together. And I'm curious, like, are there any things that you did to bond with the folks that you were working with? Like maybe the other actors on set that might have felt like that?
I mean, we would like hang out in the parking lot after they wrapped. There's like there's not really anywhere to eat. Like, okay, the studio was in the middle of off Spaghetti Junction in Atlanta. It's literally an industrial area. Like, there's nowhere to really go. There's a Mexican restaurant I went to on the last day. Um, like we would go to, like, I don't know, someone had tickets to we go to baseball games. I mean, there are people's houses. We all, some of us live near each other, and we, hang out. Um, yeah. I mean, I guess during the time I was kind of close to them, like just like as work friends. I've seen some of them around. Actually, I was living in an apartment in LA, and one of them lived like 2 blocks from me. Like literally, this was 2 years ago. I was like, Sam, is that you? And it's like, oh, it's Zach. Oh, that's
Oh,
nice.
oh, that's
So yeah,
wonderful.
I run into I can't escape Halt and Catch Fire. I ran to Carrie Bechet twice. Once was in 2016 at this place called Kill Me Crazy in Atlanta. It was, hey Sam, oh hi. Yeah, it was like that. And after COVID, I had to stand in to get my health insurance back. And I was standing on the show she was on called Super Pumped. And she
Right.
remembered me. And it was interesting because everyone's like, how does she know him? How do they know each other? They're all like that.
Oh,
So
wow, that's amazing.
yeah, I've ran into, yeah, I mean, it's a small world. It's a very small world.
I guess so, especially like in a city. It's probably, especially like in the Atlanta industry, it's probably,
Oh,
but you're seeing
Atlanta's
her in different
microscopic.
places. Yeah.
It's like um there was an Uber driver who was driving my dad, and they asked, "Is Sam your son?" I'm like, "Oh like they yeah, it's very tiny."
Wow, that's incredible. Let's talk a little bit about okay, so in episode 208 in Limbo, there's a party at Mutiny, and it's in the outside location for the most part, but it looks like it was a long time of shooting because there's both day and night shots at that party. So, it looks like a fun and festive event. You got to wear your sombrero again, but what was it like shooting that? Especially, it looks like it must have happened over multiple days to film that.
It's like 2 days to film. So, okay, the Mutiny household. The interior is on a not really, it's an abandoned dog food factory that became a soundstage.
Okay.
The front porch is in Conyers, Georgia. The back areas in it's like in Norcross, I think. It's near the studio. So it's 3 different locations that make up the
Oh,
Mutiny house.
I didn't realize the front porch was a different location
Yeah,
too.
that's a different location.
Okay.
So the front, okay, let me clarify. The front porch where Donna walks in, that's fake. That is on the studio. But like, that scene in season 2 where it's Gordon and Donna are the coders. I don't know what scene. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Is that where they've just experienced the virus wiping
Yeah.
out all? Yep. Yep.
So that scene is on location, but the scene that she walks up in episode 1, that is fake.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I thought that
Like
was
it's got
just
a fake
two.
swing and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
No,
Okay,
it would fall
so
apart if you sat on it. So
oh wow. So you shot that party over 2 days.
yeah.
And what was that like for you?
Well, Daisy von Schurler Mayer really does love me because she kept putting me in every shot, and she gave me my first line ever. I actually ran into her at the New Beverly back in 2019, and she remembered me, and I was like, oh, thank you so much, because I was about to I just my episode an episode I was in of AP Bio was about to come out, like literally the week of I saw her. And then a couple months later, I was off to New York to film Little Voice. So it was like really a weird karmatic moment of just like all this stuff's coming together.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I
um,
did. I did an interview with her and she seems like, well, I guess every director probably has to be, but she seems like very intentional with the vision that she had on set, which would be kind of hard to do a party with that much intention because there's so many people involved. But
It was actually really just low key. It really was not that difficult. It was pretty it was easy. It was fun. It was easy. It was fun and easy. I loved it. I did a little dance with someone. We made up a little dance. I can't really do it, but me and this girl Sarah made up a little dance that we did. I mean, it's like it did not feel like work. That scene did not feel like work at all. It was really fun and very memorable.
yeah, oh, that's nice. And there's so much going on at that party. Um, a very different scene from that, but it's in the same episode. It's at the end of the episode. So Westnet takes over. Westnet is this company Joe had been working with, and they infiltrate, they steal Community off of Mutiny's platform, and they lock Mutiny out of it. And everybody in the office is realizing that. And then Joe comes to the Mutiny house because he wants to tell Cameron that he had nothing to do with it. But he's just coming off of a party of his own. And it's an interesting scene because it seems like a very tight space, but you all had to sort of be standing together as one, kind of blocking him and, sort of puffing up and making him not feel comfortable to be there because you didn't want him there. So I'm really interested about like what a tight space that was. How was this to shoot?
So I remember going like on set and I'm like thinking to myself, something feels weird. Like there's like a darkness or something. I don't know. It felt weird. Like I don't the energy had changed. I know that sounds like I don't know, like I'm making that up, but it really felt that way.
That's cool.
I remember so I'd met Lee Pace when I was like an extra in season 1, and it's the scene with the giant. Is that it where he's at the hotel room, he grabs a giant and reveals it to people?
Right.
So I never like I don't know, but then I just remember like there was just a weird energy, like I felt like something's not right. I don't know, and I was like asking them, "Do you feel that?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Okay." So maybe I don't know, maybe I'm just very intuitive or something, but it was just really like I just felt it was very heavy. There was a heavy energy, and I will
That's
say
cool
maybe
that you
that's
felt
Lee
that on
Pace.
set. Because
What?
that's cool that you felt that on set. Because I feel that as a viewer of that scene, it's like very oppressive. That scene, it's like very claustrophobic. Everybody's standing up. Everybody's crowding his space, trying to get him to leave, but nobody's saying anything. So it's just like a physical sort of intimidation. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
I
was
had no idea
interesting.
that was going to happen. Like, I had no idea we're going to film that, really. I just was like, in the moment, I just felt there's just something really heavy and dark.
Wow. Oh, that's so neat.
I
I'm
don't know if those,
well,
what?
dark, but that's how the scene was supposed to be. So that's perfect.
Yeah, and I had no idea. I was just like, okay, maybe, yeah.
You all did a really good job if it felt that way to you on set because it came across on camera as well. So do you have any from just being on set, do you have any favorite moments? Anything that sticks out for you?
Um, so there's a scene when we were doing a scene where I think it's actually that scene where they're gonna sell, they're trying to decide between selling or I don't know what scene it is, but it's like Lee Pace is like has betrayed Cameron and they're out in the open yelling. I don't know what episode, I forgot what scene that is. But they're like, okay, everyone boo and hiss. And I go, and someone's like, do that to Lee when he comes in. So I do that to Lee, go, and Lee Pace's eyebrows were like in my soul, like they were like staring down at me. He was completely off guard. I think I made They never
Oh,
showed that because this is a heavy drama. They're not going to show that.
yeah.
Um, okay, so Toby Huss gave me a compliment. He went, Sam, you've never been the most fucked up person in the room, have you?
It's a Toby Huss compliment.
I think that's a compliment. I mean, it's kind
That's
of true,
wonderful.
but
Oh, he seems like a really funny guy.
yeah. I feel like he would try to make people crack up. Like he would do his con voice from King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it sounds like it sounds like he just had that vibe on set that people were happy to let some takes go with that.
I mean, I think Toby Huss is a very underrated actor, so
He's incredible in this show.
Yeah.
I'm told that he, like, the character of Boz was sort of meant to go in a different direction, but like right out of season one, Toby brought something to it that had like a really familiar energy, and he had a storyteller vibe, and he was just like, all that stuff developed because he brought so much to it.
I'm always curious what season one would have been, because it feels like it was very different. The original vision was very different than what happened. I don't know. I get that vibe from what I hear.
Yeah, I'm hearing that as well. And I think a lot of it seems like when the actors actually came to the table and started bringing their own things to the roles, it was like opened up the eyes of the creators, just what some of those characters could do. So it is interesting that it seems like a show where, people's interpretation of their role did influence the future.
I mean, I do think, and I'm not saying this because I was in season two, but I think season two is where it does kind of pick up, because I feel like season one is just very, very heavy and very, very like, it's season one. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it was established maybe I don't know, not the wrong way, but there is something, because I feel like it does pick up season 2, 3, and 4. It really does pick up more.
Yeah, I would say it seems like a popular opinion. And I think there was a lot of setup in season one, like
Yeah.
to establish the characters and establish everything. But I do like that in season two kind of allowed for every season after that to have a complete energy shift. Like season two feels like its own thing, but season three feels different. And then season four feels different. So, and each in their own way. So I love that it sort of set the stage to bring something new to the table in every new season.
I mean, I'll be honest, when I watched the episode I was in of season one, I really wasn't into it. Like, I really couldn't get into it. And then, like, after, having fun working on it, I watched season 2. And I also think I just graduated college. I was not watching shows like this,
Mm-hmm.
like, I was not watching heavy dramas.
Yeah.
So I think it was also like a kind of a, maturity thing.
It was definitely a heavy drama. I mean, it had its moments of comedy for sure, but it was comedy within a heavy drama.
Well, something else, because I know it's like a cult classic, but something I realized when they were first filming it was the viewership tended to be a lot older.
Oh, okay.
Like, everyone I know who watched it was like my parents' age, it seems. I don't know if that was just the luck of the draw. And like, I just remember the producers were like, "Oh, we need younger viewers. We need younger viewers." I'm thinking to myself, realistically, this isn't gonna get younger viewers right now, because this is very heavy drama.
And it was a period piece for
Yeah,
the
it's a
80s
period
and
piece.
90s. And I think it definitely resonates for people who lived in the 80s, and really remember the 80s. So it sort of skewed maybe a little bit older because of that as well.
Oh, they would come up to me all the time. Like, I was recognized from it. They're like, "I love Halt and Catch Fire. It reminded me of back when I was working,
Yeah.
in the computer industry."
Yeah.
So that was a lot of the feedback I got, was just people who had lived through it, and that's the reality of, the show.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. So this was your first acting gig. So were there any like lessons that you learned along the way? Like you mentioned learning about marks and learning about, how to be on camera. What are there other things that you learned along the way?
I learned like when to, like, how to like navigate your way through this, because this is the communication style of this industry makes no sense. Like, I mean, I have autism spectrum disorder, and it's like literally the opposite of everything you're ever learned about communication. Like, you can't be like too upfront, but you have to like get your opinion across. And I'm still kind of learning that a bit. Like,
Yeah, we all are.
yeah, it's a weird kind of it's just, this is such, I don't get how people get things done. I don't get it. It's like, you can't really say what you want, but you have to say what you want
Yeah.
indirectly to okay, yeah.
That's a lot for you to have to pick up on a first acting job for sure.
I mean, I also think a lot of it was I was just really naive. I was very, very, I had no experience really. Like, I'd worked as a PA, but I was like locking up a door for 14 hours. That's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, this was a on camera, very active role.
Yeah, I mean, it's snowballed. Like, I I auditioned and booked something right after that, and then I ended up getting a role in a movie with Kate McKinnon and Taylor Schilling by myself. Literally just sending a video with no help.
Wow.
5 days in a movie about insane clown posse.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then I ended up
Wow.
going to LA, and I basically got an agent within 3 months. And within like 2 years of moving to LA, I'm a recurring guest star in an Apple show. So it really did just like snowball. Like it was really, yeah,
Yeah, that's incredible that that
yeah,
happened for you.
yeah.
Well, I'm curious because you know obviously you worked with a bunch of people on the show, both in front of and behind the camera. Is there anybody that you loved working with and you wanted to shout them out here and acknowledge their work?
Um, I like, the PA, Sarah, Jamie, Jill. Yeah, I knew people who knew Sarah before the show, actually. That's how small Atlanta is.
Mhm.
Um, there's Iron and Warren. Warren was the first AD. Just everyone. I've seen Carrie before. I'm sure I'll run into her again at some point. It seems to be how it works every couple
Yeah.
of years.
Oh, wow. It sounds like there are quite a lot of people. I don't know that I have heard about those PAs yet, so I'm really glad that you shouted them out.
Yeah,
Sounds like
there's
they kept the
Yvonne and
thing
Maurice.
running.
They did hair and makeup.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I there's Eliana who did set dressing. Amy Blanc-Lassay who did scripting. I'm sure I'm missing people, but yeah, I do remember like all the crew. Like I went to we got to go to the rap party, and there's a video of me and I'm dancing and just doing my own thing. Then Mackenzie joins in, and I have never seen this video. Someone took it. I don't know. I don't know.
If anybody has that video, we need to get it to Sam.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had fun. Like it's definitely a lot of memories are associated with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, is there anything that you're up to now that you can talk about?
I've been pitching a show to some producers. I write. I have a movie. I'm in a movie directed by Richard Elfman that's premiering at the Lumiere Cinema in Beverly Hills on May 18th. I'm just, hustling, it's been pretty rough since COVID and a strike. It's really hard to not be a name.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's been very rough. I've heard about that from all your other interviews from
Yeah, this
other.
isn't, it sounds like it's not an easy time for, I mean, there was so much stoppage of work that you're having to all overcome. So who knows what that does to demand, but you know, I hope that, you'll keep finding the roles that you want. And, thank you so much for taking some time and talking with me. I mean, it's so interesting to hear about this show from your perspective. And I just appreciate that you took the time to do it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I love, Halt and Catch Fire continues to haunt my life. No, like I don't know. It literally comes up. Like it will come up randomly. Either I'll run into someone or someone will like know someone who knew someone on it and I know them in a conversation. Like it really just it never ends. It just keeps going.
Oh, wow. Well, I hope that you continue to get good memories from it and
Yeah.
good interactions, and it only helps snowball your network even further.
I mean, yeah, sounds, yeah.
Yeah. But thank you so much for doing this. And, everybody who's listening, go out there and watch Halt and Catch Fire. Bye,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye.